always from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is the soundtrack to accompany some questions and their answers. And I'm Don Jackson, around the world on the internet. There was a skit on Saturday Night Live that featured some deep thoughts. This hour, the answers to some deep questions for lovers and other strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Savage Garden and I Knew I Loved You, and Seal with People Asking Why. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Quite some time ago, Randy Cohen answered some very deep questions in the magazine New York. The article appeared in the May 15th, 1978 issue. Now, to this date in 2010, I have found no better answers to them. For example, how much is a king's ransom? While returning from the Third Crusade, Richard the Lionhearted was kidnapped by Duke Leopold of Austria and held for over a year in a castle by Henry VI, Holy Roman Emperor. Money for his ransom was raised by taxing Richard's subjects and confiscating church vessels and jewels. The total cost of the ransom came to nearly 150,000 marks, $5 million. This, along with the cost of the crusade, virtually bankrupted England. Unquote. This hour, some answers to some very deep questions with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Joe Cocker with a classic, And You Are So Beautiful. Don Henley with The End of Innocence and Coldplay and Viva, La Vida. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers. These are questions that have needed answers, and writer Randy Cohen in the magazine New York came up with some long-awaited answers. They say that beauty is only skin deep. But how deep is skin deep? The dermis is from 1/16th to 1/8 of an inch in depth. An average adult has about 18 square feet of skin, weighing approximately 6 pounds. More questions, more answers shortly with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Fergie and Big Girls Don't Cry. Bruce Cockburn on the Coldest Night of the Year, and John Mayer, and Your Body is a Wonderland. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Again, questions that have sometimes plagued humankind. Writer Randy Cohen in the magazine New York came up with the long-awaited answers. Something about some of these questions has even made it into the popular language and even song lyrics. For example, how high is the moon? On the average, it is 238,857 miles from Earth. The highest mountains on the moon are located near the lunar South Pole, with peaks of over 26,000 feet. Here's another answer to a question he came up with. The question, how quick is a wink? The duration of a wink ranges from 0.3 to 0.4 second, according to Adler's Physiology of the Eye, edited by Robert A. Moore. Unquote. Lovers and other strangers with some deep questions this hour. From iTunes and CHFI.com. Melissa Etheridge in Come to My Window and Lights to Drive My Soul. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Over the years, I have featured a few writings about pancakes, and one that featured a little boy who made a mess of the kitchen as he tried to surprise his parents with a pancake breakfast. So, how flat is a pancake? According to Randy Cohen in this article that appeared many years ago in the magazine New York, and I quote, "The standard pancake at the International House of Pancakes is about a 1/4 inch high and 5 inches in diameter." Unquote. A standard we can all aspire to. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. The Eagles and a flatbed truck in Take It Easy. And the words were sometimes cold and flat, according to Michael Buble in the song Home. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. So, one final question this hour, answered by Randy Cohen in this article that appeared many years ago in the magazine New York. The question was, how hot is a pistol? He writes, and I quote, "Precise figures are hard to come by. The temperature depends on type of gun, type of bullet, rate of fire, and number of rounds fired." A salesman at a gun dealer was asked how hot a .38 caliber police special would get if its entire load were fired as fast as one could pull the trigger. He replied, "Too hot to handle." Unquote. It reminded me of this. Elspeth Huxley in The Flame Trees of Thicca, and published by Chatto and Windus in London, wrote, and I quote, "The best way to find things out is not to ask questions at all. If you fire off a question, it is like firing off a gun. Bang, it goes, and everything takes flight and runs for shelter. But if you sit quite still and pretend not to be looking, all the little facts will come and peck around your feet. Situations will venture forth from thickets, and intentions will creep out and sun themselves on a stone. And if you are very patient, you will see and understand a great deal more than a man with a gun does." Elspeth Huxley in The Flame Trees of Thicca, published by Chatto and Windus in London. Some very good advice. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.